All right, here we go. Pankration philosophy, episode 221. Welcome again to the show. I'm your host, Pocholo Cruz, and our guest today, fresh off his first MMA fight, Saleem Alsaeed.
Yes, sir. The dream.
the dream. You weren't dreaming. You did it.
Not yet. Yeah, we did that one.
Yep.
There we go.
So, yeah. Welcome to the show, Saleem. So I guess let's before we talk about the fight that just happened, less than a week ago on Saturday. I guess let's talk about how did you get started on your MMA journey?
Started back probably about 5 years ago now. My brother's tried to pursue the career of professional boxer.
Okay.
And one day I went to his gym in Bellevue, Washington, here next to the Car Toys, and I was like, this is all cool and all, but stuff's kind of boring. We got to go do a little more,
Yeah.
He needs to choke me. I'm not in too much danger here. So I was like, all right. So, sure enough, I found our way to AMC in Winville. And then, met a great guy named Patillo Cruz. And from there, it's history. From there, I learned the beatings. Yeah.
Yeah. The beatings kept happening, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So your brother was boxing and then came in, decided, okay, I need more damage happening to me. You need not just hands, you wanted also kicks, knees, and grappling to occur. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Then I was always one of those kids too that watched them on TV, never actively pursued to watch a fight, but if they were on, kind of just watching them.
Okay.
And then same with I think what was the game on the Xbox 360? It was Fight Night.
Oh, fight boxing game. Yeah, Fight Night round 3, Fight Night round 4. Yeah.
I always grew up playing the games on the 360 and the PS2, and then I've always been a fan of Mortal Kombat, all that crazy crap. Then the UFC games came out too, so I was always the guy on the trampoline in your buddy's backyard trying to do something. And then a long time ago, then now here, kind of worked out later on, I guess.
Okay. So you had fighting was on the mind, or fighting in competition was on the mind. Okay.
Absolutely.
And I guess when you started, do you think about competing? I guess when you started training, did you go in thinking you're going to compete later, or I guess what was the mindset like for you going in?
To be honest, I kind of just wanted to go in there and just start, learning the technique. And then I think about 2 months in to the whole experience, I think I just started doing Muay Thai. I was pretty much begging Matt to let me spar.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was kind of just always trying to get with either the coaches, just try to learn what to do to start the fight, or at least to get an exposition, like a smoker exhibition. Yeah, there you go.
Exhibit. Some exposition about it.
Yeah. There you go. You get hit in the head a little bit, But ever since I started, that was always the path I wanted to go down. I don't know. I wasn't one of the guys that was let me just learn it for the fun of it. I feel ever since I started, I was always in there 5 days a week. I tried to take it as serious as possible.
Got it. Yeah. So you had it set out fairly early on that, all right, great that I'm learning this, but I'm going to use this. I want to compete. Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of, exhibitions, I know you were, because you're training for probably about 2 years, and then, there's a smoker that's supposed to happen in March of 2020, and nothing else happened that month. So
yep.
So
nothing else, not for a long time. Yeah, nothing else for a long time. 1 week out, went through the whole camp, and then 1 week out, no more fight.
Yeah.
Lockdown, baby. That's it.
Yeah.
But there we go. So
exactly. Yeah. So that definitely did something to halt the competition side of it. Okay.
Definitely. Looking back, I feel it was a good thing. I was at least I was fully ready to go when I went, so it was cool. At least kind of self-assured, I was I've been doing this for way too long. It's time.
Yeah. For sure. And I think I remember too, beforehand, before you had the exhibition, in March of 2020, weren't you also wasn't that also the beginning of the year you had the kidney issues started to appear, something like that?
Yeah, because I was training for another smoker 6 months before that one. Then
yes.
There's another one 3 months after that again too. And then I could never get matched up, but I think it was one of those ones that I was trying to get matched up on. Just started, learning about kidneys.
Yeah,
kidneys a little bit. Then this first issue happened then. back then.
Oh yeah, I think so, because I think you had to, I think maybe like you dropped out, and I think Zahab ended up taking your opponent, something like that happened.
Yeah. I never even got matched up. I could never get matched up. Nobody wanted it.
That's true.
Yeah, nobody wanted to smoke. Yeah,
they didn't want an easy fight apparently.
No, they wanted that. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, ever since then, dude, finally got matched up for real. Recently, after 5 years, finally got something happening. So it's cool, but that's it though.
Yeah, so I guess in terms of you've been waiting a while trying to compete, and I guess how much notice did you have like before this fight?
I took this one on 2 weeks notice.
2 weeks notice. Okay.
2 weeks notice was like officially matched up. Because I was always preparing for an event on the 29th.
On the 29th of this month, which
so about 2 weeks out. So I cut it about 2 weeks short, but ever since the event was announced, I was like kind of training a little bit like for a fight. We planned it out where it'd be like strategically like 8 weeks out, and then training like we had the fight, and then it turns out we got matched up for 1-2 weeks earlier. So we just had to like really speed up like, our weight cut and stuff like that, and dieting down at least to be able to make it. But I mean, we got there just 2 weeks sooner. Well, I guess all in all, best case scenario happened.
Yeah, best case scenario happened, like definitely for you, I guess, when got an unexpected guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So when so I guess in terms of, since this was your first weight cut and everything, I mean you definitely had some like help in terms of that regard. So I guess how were you helped? How did the process go? How did that feel, like do that for the first time?
I mean, the help, honestly, I mean, it was a huge help. It was, since it was my first time ever really like dieting down, trying to like hit a target for a weight and everything like that. Having Logan and his team really like looking after me really helped out a lot. I don't think I would have been able to do it without them, especially at least cutting like the amount of weight I had to do in a short period of time. So it was about 12 pounds, or no, we were about, when we took the fight, I think it was about like 159, 160 like weight.
So about like 14, 15 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Then within 2 weeks, we really got down there. But for my first one, I know at least on the amateur circuit, not a lot of people are cutting down that much in 2 weeks to get to their fight weight. So,
well, some people just don't cut. I mean, I'm not saying
some people don't cut, and some people just don't make weight. So I was like, I don't want to be either one of those guys.
Make weight's optional, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Like, why not?
It's more guidelines, if anything.
Exactly. So at least it was cool knowing I was doing it right. I wasn't just like starving. A lot of people are like, oh, you probably just don't eat anything. And I'm like, no, man, I'm still eating like 3 meals a day, just like only like all natural foods, all the good stuff. And, because you could eat one Snicker bar and eat nothing else the entire day, or you could eat like, a little chicken rice and eat more throughout the day than just that one Snickers. So it's pretty cool just like learning about all that stuff too. So even just like takeaways for life, it was cool to be able to like go through it, because at least now you kind of know in your head like what you should be eating to hit certain goals too. So having that help definitely helped out. Same with like the strength and conditioning side. Strong EX Fitness and everything like that really helped out a lot. I can love those guys, recommend them to anybody. So they got me shaped up and working with them about 6 months now. And, never felt stronger, never lighter, and, looking like a monster. So that was pretty cool too.
Got it. Yeah. So that was on the strength and conditioning side and the nutrition side. So I guess, and then for the, I guess like the technical preparation and then the training, like how was that for you?
That was pretty cool. I've always, like we said, I was always training about a couple weeks, like about 8 weeks out, trying to take it a little bit more seriously in the gym. I'm definitely one of the people that will kind of joke around more in the gym, than take it a little bit more seriously. But once we got matched up on the 2 weeks, that kind of all changed. We started moving around with headgear on, stuff like that. Make sure you take it a little bit more serious. And then it's funny, actually, for me, I actually went downhill when I started. Once I got matched up, my training actually went down. So I was like, dang, like this is what it's going to be like. And then, just kind of going through there, because I'm one of the people that overthink everything.
Yeah.
So you helped me out a lot with that one. You're like, dude, just stop thinking, and then definitely best advice I've ever had. So like, at that point, your body knows what it wants to do. So I'm like, dang, I should just stop thinking about everything I do.
Why am I thinking all this thinking stuff is getting in the way?
I'm like, dang, you want that promotion? Just stop thinking about it, just
No, but I think, it really is like a focus kind of thing. And in terms of, because when you talk about going downhill, it's not like any of your skills like eroded. You were just, focusing on too much, or or sometimes like if you think too much, it kind of clutters what you're doing. you're not as focused in terms of doing so. So it's like if you're multitasking already in your mind, you just end up taking the same like you could take that same direction and just go through with smaller tasks or with like less tasks to be more efficient.
Right. Yeah. We learned that firsthand right there. So that was cool. It was cool to see it actually work. So it was cool. Yeah.
Got it. And with so you had the training and then so you got down, you got down to the weight, and then I guess with all the direction, like how was because I know some people end up like struggling in terms of weight cut. I mean, like we mentioned like before, but it seems like you had pretty you had a lot of help in terms of that regard, and then cutting weight, and then making the weight, and then in terms of thinking. So I guess like heading into like the fight, like what was what was your thought process, or how are you thinking? Let's say like you made the weight and it's like 24 hours before, like what's on your mind?
Yeah. Man, 24 hours before. So my main thing was just trying to feel like a human again after the weight cut. For me, it was hard. The last 2 pounds were hard to get off. So it really took a lot out of me. And then great teammates, drove me around and everything like that and helped me get on the scale. And then after that, immediately with all the help I had with the nutrition too, we had a full like hydration protocol and everything like that. So just mainly feeling good again. Then once I felt good again, just kind of just came home and chilled out. Everybody left me alone in the house, which was nice. Then not voluntarily, they all went and hung out, hung out together and left me at home. So it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. So I just ended up really trying to turn off my brain. So I just kind of like kicked back. I watched How to Train Your Dragon on Netflix, one of my favorite movies. That was cool. I just watched that. I'm still strict with the food for that last night. So just really chill out. And then actually just kind of at one point I just kind of just turned off the lights here and I was just sitting there with I would just keep playing my walkout song that I chose on loop with my headphones in, turn off lights a little bit. And I was just kind of sitting on the floor, just trying to visualize at least the walkout. Everybody told me always just try to, visualize the walkout and your hand getting raised. And then like the middle part will kind of just come. So that was kind of what I did. I didn't really focus too much on the fight itself when I was like prepping for it. I don't want to like psych myself out or things like that. So I'm mainly trying to stay calm throughout the walkout. And I think I accomplished that too, because walking out, I really felt calm, like kind of cool and collected. And then at the end too, it was cool to, actually get your hand raised. That was pretty cool too. But leading up to it, I really didn't do too much. So at night too, just visualizing it a little bit, shadow boxing a little bit, just trying to get your body moving. And then that was kind of it leading up to it.
Okay. With your walkout song, what walkout song did you select?
Oh man, we chose Key Glock. Key Glock as the artist, and it was Gang Shit No Lame Shit. It's a sick song. Because I was so stressed out about choosing a song too. I thought I was even overthinking that. So I was like, shut up your brain, like let me do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So ever since I started trying to train, like since 5 years ago, I started putting a playlist together from a walkout song. It's like, all right, I'd hear a song, I'd be like, yo, this is a good song. I'm gonna walk out to this song. Then fucking 5 years later, I have 500 songs in my walkout playlist. It just turned into like a workout, like in like get moving playlist. And then I had to make another playlist to filter that down. And then I was down to 50 songs. And I'm like, what do we do now? Like, I can't walk out 50 times. I'll be like Mayweather, like. So I was like, fuck. And then getting stressed out. Then eventually the promoter were texting me. They're like, hey man, we need that song. And I was like, all right. Well, give me a little bit of time. And then we fucking found the song. And that was the perfect song. So that's cool. We got it.
Yeah. So from 500 to 50 to that one, I guess what about that one made you think like, all right, this is it?
Well, one of the things that we were thinking of was like, we didn't want to get too hyped out and like just blow your wad on the walkout and get too hyped up, start jumping around and everything like that. So my whole thing was, somebody told me to look at Fedor walkout back when it's like prime. And they're like, just look at Fedor. It was my coach. Then he was like, I was like, all right, sweet, let's do that. So I was watching him. The motherfucker was so cool. He looked like an ice cube just walking through there, just intimidating as fuck. And I was like, all right, well, I can't play this music because I don't know what they're saying in the song. I was like, let me see my
he's walking on some Russian opera.
Some crazy shit. Yeah, I was like, oh man, is this where like Batman's parents got let go? Or what, dude? So I was like, I don't want to do that. So I'd like this one because I had a cool little jazz beat in the beginning, and then it was pretty cool, like pretty chill throughout the thing. It didn't go too crazy. So I thought it'd just be something easy where you kind of just take your pace. Really just like one step at a time. I didn't want nothing crazy. So I thought way too much into the song, but I got what I wanted out of it.
So you thought way too much, but you ended up getting there.
we got there. We got inside the cage. The song did its job. So it was cool. It was a good one.
Nice. So I guess in terms of visualizing like your walkout, and now let's go to like it's fight night, and you hear your music, you're walking out. Like, how was that? I guess like how was that in between? Like, how were you feeling? I guess like before, like I guess before you're walking out, I guess like you got your hands wrapped and you're warming up. What's on your mind then?
The main thing was just trying to get there because we showed up about an hour late to the event. Showed up to about an hour after the event, so we were kind of playing catch up. So I had to go through the doctor's physical real quick, grab your equipment, chill out for a little bit. So mainly, just got my hands wrapped too at the very end, and then they were rushing us the whole time just to kind of like get moving finally. So it's funny because the whole time we're like, all right, let's just chill now. We got time. We got here. Let's just hang out until it's fight time. Like, don't want to get too excited. And I'm like, all right, sick. And then all of a sudden, they just start screaming at us, get your shit wrapped. Let's go. Let's go. You're up next. We're like, oh, fuck. We're like, fuck. All right, it's fuck the chill. So sure enough, we got my boy Ishmael came over, wrapped up my hands, and we got that going. And then they're like, all right, you're up. You're up next. You're like, next stage. And we're like, oh, what? Like, okay. We didn't know the next fight was still going. And then we're just sitting there. I'm literally behind the crowd watching the fight happen in front of me, at least the previous one. And I'm just literally just sitting here like, oh, fuck, well, now what? Like, we're just pacing around. Like, we're not up next. Like, what? So it was pretty cool. So I was really just trying to chill out there. And then that's really once the nerves started, cracking up. So before that, of course, we did our warm-ups, like situationals, hit pads a little bit, make sure everything was loose and like hips were loose and everything. Mm-hmm. And then just it was pretty cool though, because at least I was like watching the fight happen live with everybody else around too. So it wasn't like I just walked out and all lights were just there. So it was pretty cool. At least I kind of got like used to like the venue a little bit before I walked in there. So it was pretty cool. And then just kind of, primed up and ready to go.
Got it. You're carefully select the walkout song plays.
Absolutely.
And then you walk to the cage. And I guess, do you remember like what you were thinking, or do you remember what you were thinking like when you entered there?
Dude, I was sitting there like in the back before I walked out, like through the hallway or the little aisle in between the stairs. Dude, I was kind of pissed off. I thought they fucked up my song, dude. Like after all that, I'm like, dude, this ain't my song. It was like because they skipped like 10 seconds in front of it. Because I was sitting like, all right, like there's a little jazz beat in front. I'm gonna wait out the 10 seconds, and then I'm gonna walk when it drops. And I didn't hear no jazz beat. And I was like, dude, they fucked up my song after all that. Like, this whole day's ruined. And then, like, I was like, oh, no, this is the song.
You just walk out.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, this is the song, though. Like, all right, we're ready to go. So then I was like, all right. And then we ended up walking out. But the whole time I was trying not to look at anybody because I knew if I got, like, nervous, I didn't want to make eye contact with anybody. So it's funny. I ended up walking just straight past, like, everybody, like, our little groupie section over there. I wasn't trying to look at anybody. I was just looking at the cage.
Yeah.
Staying cool, whatever, just trying to get there. And then from there, it was, just basically like, I forgot to take my chain off too. So then we had to taking my hoodie off, and I couldn't get my gloves out from the hoodie because the hoodie sweats were too tight. So we were just looking like a fool there for a little bit. And then we got it going. Then we did everything else. So we're like, oh shit, the one thing you don't think about. And then we climbed up there. Then it was pretty cool though, because I was able to size up the cage and get a good feel for like the play and the fence and the cage and everything like that too. So it was pretty cool right when I got to the venue. So when I got in there, I felt pretty comfortable already, at least with like how slippery the mats was and the canvas. Just did a quick little loop around it and then, just readying it out. So at that point, it was game time.
Nice. And when you walked out, like, did you walk out second? Did you walk out first, or was he already in the cage? Or
no, I walked out first. So it was pretty cool. So I walked out first. So it was pretty cool. I was trying to eye him down the whole time, stuff like that. Then I was like, all right, you chose like a song. Like I think like a metal song or some like rocky song. I'm like, definitely not as good as my song. Big mistake. Like big mistake. He walked in. I was like, all right. And then it's funny because he was mad dogging me hard when we first both got to the venue.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. I was like, we're walking past him in the dungeon, underneath the venue. He's like giving me a mad dog, trying to scare me off and stuff like that. And it was funny because when we were actually in the cage, it was flipped. Once the announcer was eyeing it, he wasn't making eye contact, and he was like looking around and everything like that. And I was just looking at him, and then eventually we made eye contact, and he's like, raised his hand a little bit, and touch gloves. I was like, yeah, sure, all right. And then eventually, the bell rang, and then we're like, all right, here we go. But it was just funny to see like how quickly, because it was real for him too. Yeah, I was like, damn, I'm nervous as fuck, and then I'm like, I'm holding it. I'm like, but I think I look pretty good right now. I'm chilling out, looking good. And I saw him, and I was like, dang, he's actually like, it hit him too. You could tell like. It was pretty cool to see. Like, I'm like, oh shit, I'm not the only one here. He's definitely nervous too, because we're both 0-0.
Yeah,
going into it.
Both your debuts, and then you can kind of got the sense of, oh yeah, he has the same nervous energy or nervous feeling,
right?
It's displaying a bit more than you,
right? I'm like, all
right. So you're there. The fight starts. What do you like? What do you recall like from the fight?
From the very start. it's funny because afterwards everybody asked me too. They're like, "Oh man, like what happened? Like, oh dude, that's so crazy. Do you remember?" Like, and I was funny, like I kind of just completely blacked out and just took autopilot. But at least in the very beginning, I remember I didn't want to rush into anything because I think it was actually you that taught me that it's like at the very start, like set the pace, like throw a bomb, at least let them know like you're for real. And I was like, dang, well, like he's also going to try to throw a bomb. I don't want to get like, 20-second knockout and get clocked out like that. So I was like, for me, I have more of like I feel like a technical style where I like to be on the outside. I'm not really like an inside kind of fighter where I'm not like trying to scrap and trade blows. So for me, I was really just trying to, establish the jab early on. My game plan was always establish the jab and the left hook early on and try to play off that and jab feints, and then eventually set up like a mid body kick and head kicks, at least on the left side, like particularly. So from the very start, just trying to set up the jabs, just to kind of fake it out, dance around a little bit, just get some good footwork moving and stay on the outside range, and then try to slip in and stuff like that. And then right off the bat, you could tell just from his nerves, he was just kind of throwing mainly hooks, no straight kicks or anything like that. If he was throwing anything straight, it was way too far away. Off the bat, I think first thing he threw was like a front teep, like a left teep or right teep. Yeah. And you could tell right away just off that, you're like, oh, we got a little bit of technique differences here, like at least style differences, just because you could see it. And then I was like, okay, sweet. And then I was like, all right, this is good. And then he would throw a couple hooks. I would just try to land the jab down the middle and just keep circling out. That was my main thing, was to try to keep moving, because when I get nervous, I'll just stand there and just go backwards and things like that, which kind of ended up happening. But I feel like I did a good job of just circling around at first, and we landed a head kick pretty early on. Left head kick. It was pretty cleanly open. And then just kept moving around a little bit. And then I eventually landed a couple good body kicks too, left body kicks. And then I remember he just kept throwing repeatedly like a right overhand. Okay. Right overhand clipping me kind of behind the ear, because when I had my glove, even if I was blocking it, it would still go behind with those tiny ass fucking gloves. Yeah. And then eventually he tagged me pretty good with one of them, and I kept going back, and he just kept spamming that shot. But I was able to get my back on the cage and circle out of it eventually, and then come back in pretty strong too. I then noticed he was really just running after me at that point, like literally running in the cage. It was pretty cool. You could tell he's pretty wide open. So I landed a pretty good body shot that he ran into, at least with my leg. And then he ended up running into a pretty good knee too, if I remember. And then that was pretty much it. So did that first round, just moving around a lot. Then really trying to set up that body kick. So I just kept picking at it throughout the whole fight. I think I landed about 6 mid-9s throughout the fight. And then ding, ding, that was the bell, dude. Longest first round of my life.
Yeah. So I guess what was the biggest difference in terms of like, so what do you think? Do you think it was like, was it the speed, or was it just like the effort? Or like, what was the biggest difference, like you'd say, from, okay, now that's your first 3 minutes of actual live action? Like, what was the difference between, because there is a difference between like the sparring and then the actual liveness. Like, from what you recall, what do you think was the most jarring thing?
I think the most thing was the intent. Like, just knowing like this is for real. Like, I'm trying to put him in a hospital and he's trying to put me in a hospital. Yeah. And there's like, there's a ref there, but still like the ref comes to you after you're hospitalized, like kind of deal.
Yeah, like consequences is going to happen because of this. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it's not like, oh, you get shot and you're going to be like, oh, you okay, bro? Like, they're going to follow up. Because I've been in the gym every day. He's like, iron sharpens iron. And he's like, I just need you guys to know this shit's for real. This ain't like, this patty cake shit's cute, but like when you're in there, like, you're going in there to put somebody in a hospital. So that was the main thing for me, is just knowing that like he's trying to do that back to me. Yeah. So at least with that, just heart rate was racing, fight or flight, kicked in, and then that was it. But cool thing is, shots didn't hurt as much when you're in there, because the adrenaline.
Oh yeah, the adrenaline rush for sure.
One of my biggest fears, like I turned out, I don't like getting hit too hard. Like that kind of sucks. So I was like, this kind of sucks. It was kind of cool. Like, I was like, oh, it's not as bad now when you getting pumped full of adrenaline. Like,
you get pumped full of adrenaline. Yeah, you really don't feel anything. Like I remember, like, in fights, it's like people are like, oh, does anything hurt? Like, no, not really. Like, You're like,
I'm feeling strong.
And looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting hit clean. I'm like,
yeah. You're watching the fight after. You're like, damn, he was beating me up. Yeah, so that was pretty cool though. Yeah. But yeah, that was really it. So it was fun, because I couldn't find the guy on Instagram, Facebook. I didn't know if he was a wrestler, fucking Muay Thai guy, a boxer. I didn't even know it was a real gym, dude. I thought he was from the streets. So it was like from
straight out of the garage, bro.
Exactly. So it's cool to see, like, when we're actually in there, just trying to figure it out, see what he was really trying to do. And then learning that he just really wanted to land those hooks. That was like his main plan, I guess. It was cool to see, like, in between the rounds, we could talk about a little bit with the coaches in the corners, and then try to see what we needed to do.
Got it. So what was the conversation like then in between like the first round and the second round?
So what I can remember is I had Ivan in my corner, and I also had Ryan Ishmael competing, May 19th or May 13th.
May 13th. Yeah.
We'll catch him there. He's gonna be a killer. But I remember him and Ivan were both like, hey, you need to set up your kicks a little bit more. Just because I would try to do like a switch kick and just land it quickly. And then I wouldn't set them up sometimes, or sometimes it would just be a little bit out of nowhere. They would still land, but you could tell if somebody started picking up the pattern, they would be able to catch you a little bit. So he's saying just set up your kicks a little bit. He said the hooks were open, especially the right hook, because the opponent kept lowering his hands. Even just like stance, he would just keep them low. I think you could even hear the commenters talking about it in the live stream. So like just telling me the hooks are open, set up your kicks, and they also told me to shoot for some takedowns. But I'm more of a stand-up kind of striker, so I was like, that one I kind of let it go out the ear. I'm like, no, I got him on the
whatever, guys. Yeah,
I'm like, don't worry, I got this. So that was mainly it. And then shortest half round or shortest rest round ever too. That was crazy. I was like, what? Like, okay. But I did appreciate it. Was cool having like a whole team there, because in sparring, you spar, you take a second off, and then everybody's like, all right, chilling out for a minute, and you get back in. But it was cool having like a whole ass team in there, like seeing things that you couldn't see. Because I would even thought about taking a takedown, and then having somebody come in here and they're like having like their fight IQ, like paying attention to it too. That part was pretty cool, where you're like, all right, shit, like I didn't even see that. Like, thank you for that. And then like that kind of helped the things out too. And then,
and then like in the fight too, it's not like I mean, as you said, it's happening fast. The intent is there, and you're mainly reacting. It's not like you almost have like kind of tunnel vision. You're not really seeing like the whole thing. So sometimes you need those eyes like outside the cage that can give you that information. So.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, it was cool to have that.
So you had that, and then the second round starts. And what do you remember from that?
Second round was like, oh shit, here we go again.
As you get up, like, wow, that was a minute already.
Well, you're like, all right. And then it was mainly the same thing. You're just setting up your kicks. My whole thing was I always want to land that left. My favorite kick in the world is the mid-9 left body shot. So it was really just setting that up. So I threw a couple more, I think, blind. And then I was like, oh, fuck, got to set these up more. So I was really just dancing around a little bit, and still just trying to stay outside of his range and to really work on not getting hit with any more of those fucking hooks that he kept landing with me in the beginning. I think I maybe got hit with like one or something like that in the second round, but second round I really didn't get touched. I remember he threw a couple more front kicks, but they're too far away again. He really didn't throw any straight punches, so it wasn't really like I had to slip anything. It was more just trying to get out the way of things. Mm-hmm. And then just really trying to throw more, instead of throwing single shots, I was really trying to throw out more combos. Compared to just like one and done, and then I use that mainly to go off the just set up my kicks. And then also in the second round, I feel like I feinted a lot more than the first round, especially since I feel like I established like a pretty good check hook, pretty good left check hook, and a good jab. So I was able to just play like, just dance between those, like pull my jab back halfway, whip it over into a hook, and kind of vice versa. And then just kind of play with a little bit more things like that. And then eventually we got I think it was like a 1-2-9 or just a 9. I think it was just a straight 9 actually, off like a break or something like that. And then I ended up getting him with a pretty good body shot. And then you could just see it in his eyes, the total shutdown. And then he ended up, falling to the ground backwards. And I was like, fuck, now we got to go to the ground. Like, here we go. Like, yeah. I'm like, I don't like to do that. So then I was like, fuck. And then I learned in the rules you can up kick in amateurs. I didn't know you could up kick from a bottom position. I thought, because I've always heard you weren't allowed to the head and the body. So I'm like, fuck that. So I was really just trying to control his feet when he was on his back there, and then just kept circling and tried to just land the hammer fist and just end it there. But he was a tough motherfucker, man. So I put him on his back like that, and then he started getting up again to like front headlock position. Then I gave him a sweet little uppercut from the bottom like that and threw him back on his back, and then he ended up getting back up. And then started climbing the wall. Then at that point, I feel like the ref should have called it, but I was just able to tee off at that point. So I just throwing a bunch of combos, but I didn't want to be one of those guys where you're like right there, like some Israel or Pereira type, Adesanya type shit, where you're like right there, then you just get clocked.
Yeah, then get clocked when you're trying to swarm on somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, dude, that'd be like my worst nightmare. So I'm like, damn. So I just really tried, like, as tired as I was, like, I feel like pretty patient. So I'd like land a combo. I'm like, oh shit, we're still going. All right. then start going to the body a little bit more through a couple body shots, and then go to the head again, things like that. Just try to put it all together, just body, head, and then eventually, motherfucker kept running around the cage, and I had to eventually grab him. I grabbed one of his wrists. I was like, fuck, just kept chasing him down patiently, then grabbed his wrist finally and just started just going to town on his head. My right arm, I could barely raise it. The thing was heavy as fuck. So I went to just trying to touch him just so the ref would be like, dude, he's gone. But he kept smiling. Every time I would punch him, when he was completely gone, you could see it in his eyes, but every time he would smile. So the ref would think he was okay. Yeah. And then eventually he just fully was hunched over like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then we just got him there. And then they called it. And I was like, oh, fuck, finally, this is over. It was like, wow. So it didn't even set in. Like, I didn't even realize. I would just sit still and like tunnel mode. I'm like, oh,
you were just so tired from like having to put that much output. Yeah.
I wasn't even like happy. I was just like, dude, we're like still just kind of dissociated. Then
thank God it's over.
Fuck, dude, here we go. And then I was like, all right, then just dropped to the ground, took a second, and then it finally started setting in a little bit. Then team comes into the cage, super cool. Ivan was like, dude, you won. Like, he's like, good job. It's like very calm, just a good job. And I love that guy more than death, man. That guy was sick. You could hear him yelling over everybody. It's really cool. Just having him in the area is like a cool presence to have because he got your back and he's always looking out for you. But I couldn't even raise my hand. He was trying to give me water. I had to put my hands above his neck. I was like, oh, shit. He was like, stand up. He's like, stand up. Then eventually we had to go in. He's yelling at me to smile. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, so then I guess I was just too like in the moment. So he's like, smile a little bit. And then you can see me in the camera just like cracking cheese. And then I was like,
forcing a smile.
Like, then I was like, then it kind of kicked in a little bit. I'm like, dude, we just did that shit. I was like, fuck yeah, that was cool. That part was cool. Like at the very end, like once it finally set it, but it was funny because you can see the corners in the back as like the ref is finishing it. You can see my boy Sahab fights on the 29th of April. Go catch him out. Redemption Cage Fights, Auburn Green River College. You can see him in the back just jumping like a motherfucker, like a monkey, dude. He's just in the back going crazy, and it's like funny, like as everybody else is like, he was more excited than me, I think, when I won, which is cool to have your team like that.
Well, he had energy to celebrate, not unlike you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm like, shit, dude. And like, so it's pretty cool. And then, fucking doctor checks you out, and then that was it. That was it, man. So that was my experience back then. So it was a sick one. And then at that point, the pain really started setting in from everything. So I was like, over time.
What did you feel first? Like, I guess like how long? Like when did adrenaline like start to wear off? And you're like, oh wow.
I think it dropped off right when I got backstage. Because the doctor was like, the first thing was like, hey, is there anything you want me to check out? Only thing I could actually feel was like my head was like stinging, like behind my ear on my left side.
Where he was landing? Yeah,
because it was perfectly around my gloves. And I realized like, when I've gotten hit before, but it didn't like sting. And I found out it's because he was hitting me with the almost like his fingernail area on his hands. It wasn't part of the glove. Yeah. It was a full open palm, almost swipe, like with the fucking thing right there. So it was no glove, it was straight fucking little knuckles. So it just started swelling up hella crazy. I actually looked like a real fighter for once because my ear was going the wrong way. Like to this day too, it's still swollen. I mean, it's already been like 5 days, but that was the main thing. It just was swelling like crazy. I could just feel it and it was starting to drive me crazy. And then that was the main thing. But the doctor said everything looked good. I was like, okay, sick. And then like immediately after that, like once I went to actually got my gear bag again backstage, my hands hurt like crazy. I couldn't close my hands just from landing because I was landing on like the thumb area. And I went in there with a couple other injuries too. So couldn't close my hands a little bit. Then a little bit later, then your fucking ankle starts hurting and start limping around like a weirdo. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I didn't even throw a leg kick. And then sure enough, I'm like looking at the videos. I'm like, oh, I was throwing leg kicks. Like, all right. So I was like, all right. So that was pretty cool. And then at that point, I was like, all right, man, I just need to chill out for a second. Cause I was there taking pictures with everybody getting a little lightheaded. And I was like, oh man. And then that was kind of it though. So that was my experience. But I guess everything that could have gone happened, went cool. Everything went good.
Yeah, I think that's definitely like once adrenaline wears off, you're like, oh yeah, your body's like, oh yeah, now consequences have happened like to your body. But and I think that's another thing too, is like people kind of forget like how how fragile like the hands actually are, or things that you use to you're striking somebody else, but they're hitting you as hard as you're hitting them. Like in terms
right. Which is always crazy because when you're watching like, a UFC event, and those people are throwing bombs, and you don't even realize, like, because half the time, they're throwing bombs too. And I'm like, dude, they're fucking cracking people. So I'm like, just imagine you got all those
but you don't see them
bones,
afterwards too when they got like fucking broken hands or like a cast and shit. Yeah,
exactly. I can't remember who it was, but I know somebody didn't just broke their hand, didn't they, in a recent fight?
Yeah,
or something like I can't even remember. Like it's every time, almost every time somebody's breaking their hand.
Yeah, hands get broken all the time, and some people just you know just have are more fragile, or in terms of who knows they were just hitting harder in terms of that. But yeah.
That's the funny thing too, is because like even when it was funny, like when I was smacking him in the face, like when I was like landing a hook, you don't even feel like you're touching anybody. It's weird because you're clocking the jaw so hard, and if it's turning, like I literally you couldn't feel like you were hitting anybody. It was my first time actually hitting somebody that hard, so I was always expecting it to be like a bag. We were just like like it wasn't like that. It was literally just like you're punching literally through like air.
Yeah, it's kind of like I would say it's kind of like you're hitting through paper. Like essentially, you're waiting for a feeling, and you're like, oh wait, no, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
and you look up and you're like, oh, I hit you. And you're like, I got you, motherfucker. So it's funny for me because I'm like, I feel like I didn't even touch him, and then my hands hurt. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, oh, I guess I did hit him a little bit. That part was kind of like, I was like, damn. But then main thing was with those little ass gloves, it's so easy to get injured too. Like just punching his body. I think punching his body, I tweaked my wrist a little bit too, just because there's nothing to like turn like his head. So if you're just throwing it at the ribs, it's not like anything's gonna go. It's just going straight into your arm.
Yep.
So it's always interesting to see where I was like, damn, like this people actually do this like crazy, like 10 times harder than I'm doing.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's a lot of damage, it's a lot of attrition, like for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a different kind of sensation. Yeah, trying to, like you said, like the intent is the biggest thing when you're like, when you're trying to hurt somebody in terms of strikes, and it is an interesting kind of sensation. It's like, hitting someone like as hard as you can. It's something that, I mean, if you're trained properly, you're probably not doing it, but that's like the first time, like, oh, this is me trying to hit somebody like as hard as I can, and it's an interesting scenario for sure.
Yeah, definitely different. But I'm excited to see. I still haven't gone back to the gym yet. I've just been moving around a little bit, trying to heal up, just running a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go starting back in on the gym on Monday, so I'm excited to see what my training's like now after being in that like mindset or that place mentally. I don't know if it's something that people are able to like tune into, but I'm really trying to go back into that space a little bit, sparring where you're not trying to do it with intent, but just being dialed, because it was crazy.
Just being focused. Yeah,
because a lot of times for me, if I'm like at sparring, I just feel like dissociated, or I feel like my quick twitch isn't there, or whatever it is, reflexes aren't there. I'm always like too late or not first, and I always want to be like the first one, be first on everything. So I wonder if I can try to tune into that without being a dick to some training partners. It'd be kind of cool. Like, if I could even get anything on them too, because we train with some pretty good guys. So that'd be kind of cool.
Just getting into like a kind of zone and being comfortable, like in terms of that. And I think intent's like it's a big thing too. Just a matter of being able to flow. But I think it's definitely something different. It's definitely I'd say like from going to competition and then to going, back to like training and sparring, it almost kind of, like, at least for me, I feel like it kind of slows down, or it ends up like slowing down in terms of, because now you've been in a situation where it's super fast. It's kind of like when you first started driving, and like 40 miles an hour seems like very fast, but then you start driving, 80 miles an hour, and then when you go back to 40, it's like, oh, that's not even fast. Like, what was I thinking? Like,
okay. That makes sense, actually. Okay, it might be the opposite of what I want then. Damn. I'll be out there running circles and then be like, yo, slow down. No.
Yeah. No, I mean, everyone's different in terms of that, but it's a matter of how you act. At least, that's how I felt like for me. I mean, especially with because I showed you like my first fight, and that was just like a freaking brawl, like in terms of from the get go. So yeah. And then,
which is crazy because so many people. I watched a bunch of the fights too the same night as me, and there was nobody had like the same outcome. That's funny. Yeah. That's what's so cool about the sport. I mean, there's so many different outcomes. Like it just takes one shot.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like, I mean, some guys go to full fucking distance, go a decision, or you just end it, subs. It's crazy. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's so different because there's so many different people, and everyone's gonna fight like a little bit differently. So, and that's the thing. And now it's two different people, like matching out, and that's why they say like styles and matchups could be different. So even if people can be similar, they still end up fighting like slightly differently because of that. But
right.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience, like in terms of just the competition and fighting, and Yeah, just like the whole rush of it, really, and then it can come back down like, oh yeah, well, that happened.
Yeah, right. Like, which is cool. I'm sure like the more you fight and stuff like that too, the more you get used to the experience. Like, you're not, you're more ready mentally for it. So for me, since it's my first one, I was like, oh fuck, I'm just figuring out everything for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. Like figuring stuff out, but at the same point too, it's also something, just like any kind of situation, because it's a huge adrenaline thing. Like I'm sure, second time skydiving is easier than the first time, but that doesn't mean that it's like any less dangerous or anything.
Yeah, like you're still flying through the air. Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, that's cool. I wonder, because you fought a couple times, right? Like,
yeah.
Did you get like, were you ever nervous? Were you like scared on your first one? Like when you were in there?
No, but I was also like, in terms of mindset, it really just matters of how you're feeling. And I guess like for me, I mean, definitely, of course, it's like, okay, I'm worried. I don't want to lose, like for sure. But like, as far as for me, like the most important thing for me is just a matter of, okay, I just want to go out there and just do everything I possibly can, and go until go until I can't. So I guess in terms of, I mean, yeah, you're always gonna, like for me, I always feel like that kind of butterflies are kind of like anxiety, but it's just a matter of, okay, I'm just going to go in there, and I'm going to use that, because like before I did my first fight, I had like a bunch of experience, like as well. I had like kickboxing matches and grappling matches and all that, which is why I think it's important to have those kinds of experience, so that you get used to that kind of competition. But as far as, I mean, all the fights I've had, you always feel nerves. You always feel like something like in between. And I talked to a lot of fighters, and everyone's going to feel that way. It's just a matter of channeling that energy and then going into something and just making just getting better each time. And there's no going to be no perfect like situation, so you just gotta make the most of each one.
That's cool. Yeah, just don't really let it take over too much.
Yeah,
that's cool. Leading up to it too, I mean, as we were saying, we're running late, so I was waiting for everybody to get to the gym so we could drive down there. But I was just sitting there moving around a little bit, and I was like 4 hours before the event or anything like that, I was starting to get hell nervous. So I just ended up putting on like sports psychology meditation on YouTube. And it was just like fucking for like self-doubt, all these like super gnarly things. And I'm like, dang, well, I don't think I'm like that, but like, let me give this a listen. And I was really just like, mainly like breathing shit like that. So I was like, for me, like, I was more scared leading up to the fight. I'd say like, shit, probably like the day before. Then I was more scared like leading up, like, and then like once I was actually in the cage and they're doing the announcement, like I thought that's when I'd be like, oh fuck, like this is scary as shit. But that's like almost when I was more calm.
Yeah, because you're already heading down on the roller coaster. It's not I'm not gonna walk out right now.
Yeah, like I'm in this bitch. Like everybody's gonna see me quit.
So I
was like, fuck. Like it was like, I think it was mainly just getting to the fucking cage. That's been my biggest issue for 5 years. It's literally like getting in that situation. So it's honestly like I was able to take almost like a breath of relaxation, and the fucking bell rings and it's fucking head-on car collision, and you're like, oh shit. So that's what was pretty cool. Like closest thing I could relate it to was like wing walking that me and you did. Sure.
Yeah,
because it's like you're terrified like a motherfucker, but like you're literally just looking at step by step.
Yeah,
it's like mainly
step by step, and that's the thing too. Like I remember wing walking, you would think that you're super scared like once you're in the plane, but you're like, oh well, I'm already here, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
so I think that's the same thing. Like once you're in the cage, like, well, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna do it.
Jump off. You're like, there's only one way out of here, dude. And like, like that's at the end. So same thing. So it was that was the closest thing I could like relate it to. But it was cool, because you're like, I liked it because I mainly wanted to fight, mainly just push myself mentally. So it was cool, like being like forcing yourself to fucking push through like the fear, like while like for every second for like, I think my whole fight may last like 5.5 minutes, but like 5.5 minutes of just constantly pushing through like the fear, like not trying to freeze up, like just keep moving. Yeah, that was what's pretty cool. So I'm like, if you can do that shit, bro, you can pretty much do anything. I feel like at that point, like mentally being, as far as being like mentally tough.
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, for sure. I say the mental toughness part is like, like you mentioned, it's not even really getting past an opponent. It's getting past like yourself and your self-doubt and all that. And that was, I mean, that's the main thing like I thought of like before fighting. It's just a matter of, okay, it's gonna like, of course there's gonna be someone else there, but really it's just a matter of me And like what I told myself is like, as long as I do everything I possibly can, like throughout the fight, then that's all I can do. And then whatever happens, happens. So yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like, that's it, man.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to have.
Yeah, no, it's cool to have that kind of, being able to mentally push yourself through. Yeah, because you put yourself through, 5.5 minutes of combat, which is 5.5 more minutes than what most people will ever experience like in their lifetime. So I guess like looking back at it, like now, I mean, less looking about 6 days, like what were 3 things that that you felt like, okay, you had a good sense of, okay, I prepared for it and this happened? And then what were some things that you felt like surprised you the most? Yeah.
Shoot. 3 things. One thing I feel like I prepared for very well, like that I was ready to go, was as far as like the like in shape. Like I felt like very in shape. I was
like
very
your strength and conditioning, like you were in shape, you were in good physical shape, like heading in.
That was one thing, yeah, for sure. Because
especially preparation, I guess.
When I saw it, it mainly hit me when I saw him walk into the cage, because everybody out back, has like sweatshirts, hoodies, sweats, just whatever, staying warm. And then when I actually saw him there, like fight ready, I was like, wow, like I'm way better in way better shape than you, like way bigger and like weight wise, and just like you can just tell like not a lot of people were doing like the conditioning that like probably I was doing. So that was one thing I felt very like ready for.
You were on a higher physical tier in terms of preparation. Yeah.
I feel like, because I feel like the training like I was doing was definitely more than like most people are doing for their amateur debut. It'd probably maybe be like 5 fights in or 4 fights in, at least like with especially.
Or maybe even never fights in. Who knows? Yeah.
Dude, fucking never. Like you never even know. So I felt pretty confident in that. Another thing was like I felt pretty comfortable and like confident with the game plan walking into it. So that one was pretty cool. And then what was the question, dude? What were 3 things for the first one? Like 3 things.
Pretty much 3 things that you prepared for, and then you felt, oh yeah, you're able to execute.
Yeah, for game.
3 things, but like just what things you prepared for, and you felt, oh yeah, you're able to see that through.
That was pretty much it. Yeah, so like definitely like conditioning, like body, like stature, stuff like that. Second one was game plan. I came in there with like really just keep it simple, stupid. Literally, like all I wanted was I was working on 4 shots. 4 shots. I felt like I was able to
just trying to land those.
I was able to land those very well. Nice. And then another one I was able to execute was just not go to the fucking ground. I don't want to do that.
So you just had like you physically prepared and you're able to execute it. So
exactly. I'd say that was it for those. That was probably it.
And how about the things that you would say surprised you the most, like you weren't quite expecting? Yeah.
I was expecting really to be a lot like, at least in the moment, a lot more like frozen or like freeze up a lot more. Like I thought I was gonna have a hard time letting my hands go. Yeah, in training, that was one thing I was having a hard time with. It just literally like just letting myself go because I was scared somebody was going to counter. Or I was thinking about it more like chess, where it's like I know that's kind of how a lot of people do, but I was trying to think like 5 moves ahead. Yeah, and I couldn't even get past the first move physically. Yeah, so I'd be like, well, I'm going to punch.
Yeah, move the piece first.
But, like he's going to hit me, and then this, and then like I would never actually get to the part of moving like my first piece, like you said. So like fuck, I was shocked. Like that made me pretty happy. Like one thing I wasn't expecting was I didn't think I was going to be able to like, at least just let shit go. And I wasn't expecting to be in that kind of like autopilot, like really just your body just takes over. I wasn't ready. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah. Your body's conditioned already it's already conditioned and knows how to react in like a fighting scenario. So
right. So that was cool. It was cool. Like you really shut off your brain and your body really just takes over, just first instincts and stuff like that. So I'd say those are probably the main things, just like letting yourself go. That and then really I really wasn't expecting to feel confident because as a person I live very anxious. I'm a very anxious person, and I'm always like, dang, like, this isn't going to go well. So I wasn't expecting to like actually pick up some confidence during the fight, which is kind of a bummer, but like, I didn't think I was going to lose or anything like that walking into it.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't want to think that way. But actually like halfway through the first round and like when I was actually touching him, I'm like, oh dude, like fuck, this dude's touchable. So it was kind of cool to see, like, I'm like, oh fuck yeah. So I'm like, dude, I actually got a shot here. Like this sick. Right?
Yeah, it's like the thing, fake it till you make it, but you're like, oh, I was putting myself positive vibes, but this is actually good. This is actually working out.
I don't have to fake it. You're like, this is cool. Like, I love it.
Yeah. I'm really messing this guy up. I can mess him up.
Right. And then, I mean, then one other thing too was just like having everybody there, at least physically in the fight. Like I was like I said, I wasn't expecting to lose, but it was cool, like winning and then being able to like have your family there. I mean, either way, they're going to support you probably whether you win or lose. But that was one thing that was really cool too. At least just having like a whole team there, because when we're out back warming up and everything like that, I think when Ishmael, my boy, walked up top and he was like, "Dude, you got like a whole like support group down there." Like, and I was like, "Oh shit," because that was one thing. I'm like, "Dang, like no, I'm always one of the guys where it's like I don't want to throw a birthday party because nobody's gonna come, kind of deal like that." Like as a kid, so I was like, "Fuck, dude, this is cool." Like, they got a whole team out here. You got a bunch of people that support you. It was cool to see. So I'd say that was probably 3 things. Like, at least I wasn't expecting walking into it.
Yeah.
But.
Okay, and then I guess in terms of so now post fight, I mean, you're there with your support group. What were some of like the funniest takes from your fight, or from the viewpoint of the people that supported you? Well, I mean, I know we talked like about your mom not being able to see the fight because of something.
Yeah, you could see. It's so funny. I love it. There's a few things that just randomly you just like, because I rewatched the film later on, and even like over the commentators with the guy having his camera up on top of the cage and everything like that, you still just hear people like screaming their lungs out, like, "Let's go, Saleem!" Over everybody. So that was kind of funny. That made me laugh a lot. It was like like my sister, then Tan and Kevin, the co-workers, stuff like that. So that was cool to see. I was like, just laughing my ass off. I was like, "Oh, these fucking guys." So then, you said it too. My mom's getting all pissed off at the people in the front row because she can't see, and then turns out they're with me too. Like. She's like, "Yeah, these assholes, dude. They couldn't see anything. They kept screaming and jumping." Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, no, they're with us, Mom." She's like, "Oh, that's cool." So it was cool to have that too.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And then also I felt kind of bad because like my whole groupie team was like sitting behind my opponent's wife. So that was kind of like unfortunate, kind of like awkward. Screaming in her ear, like stuff like that. Like not on purpose, but I was like, "Oh no," like. Because I wouldn't want that for my wife, but at the same time, he probably wouldn't care about that from you. So
and it's gonna happen anyway, right?
It's somebody is gonna be bummed out when they're walking out of there. You gotta hope it's not you. But that's it though.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember. Speaking of Tan, like because I watched like your fight from the viewpoint of Tan. Well, until pretty much until you dropped him with a body kick, and then all I saw was like the ground, because he must have been.
I think that's all he saw too at that point. He's like, "Fuck, I'm gone."
Yeah. I was listening in. I was like, "Well, he must be doing well because they're still cheering." I was like, "He must be messing the guy up." And I think I listened for 15, 20 more seconds, and then of course there's no view. It's just like a bunch of yelling, and then I heard the ringing of the bell. Like, oh, fight must have been over. Must be a second round TKO. And then I still saw more than your mom.
You definitely did. And you can tell for her, she was nervous as shit because my kidneys, and everybody told me to stop training. The doctor's been telling me to stop, but I mean, C's get degrees, so I don't know what they know, like
right, Miss Doctor. What have you done?
Have you ever fought? I don't think so. So that was funny too. Yeah, everybody. My mom was always nervous for me, so it was cool. I didn't know if she was gonna show up or not, so that was cool to have her there. Cool. And she always had to go through all that crap with my brother too when he was fighting, and she'd always be so nervous in there. So I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, she made it." At least so. Yes.
Yeah. See. Yeah. You had your whole support group, all that. All right.
That was it. Yeah. And it turned out to be the only fighter from the gym too. We're supposed to have another guy too, and then opponents backed out. So I was the only guy from the gym. So we kind of just got the fuck out of there after, just watched the rest of the fights, and then started heading home.
And then just pieced out. Cool.
That was it. Of course, after I got my celebratory Kit Kat, I needed that.
Kit Kat, that was what you were waiting for. Yeah,
I needed that. Yeah,
a regular Kit Kat, like four pieces. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I dissect those bitches. I dissect them. So I dissect those things, dude. I get every piece of nougat. I go wafer by wafer, layer by layer. So I made it last like a 10 stick, dude. It was good. So I made sure I got my dollars worth.
You took that break and you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I took that big. Then 2-hour drive home, dude. I'm just sitting there 2 hours. Never felt so long, dude. I had to take a ferry to get home. Sitting there.
That's funny. Yeah, it's like crossing an island and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like limping around a ferry. Everybody's looking at me like a weirdo. They're like, "Why is this guy limping?" They probably think I live in the bathroom stall or something, like down the boat. Like limping around.
Look at this chunky over here.
Yeah, they're like, "No, guys, it's not like this all the time. I swear." Then
I swear I'm not usually like this.
That's cool. Then you guys got some food and fucking went home, knocked out, took a shower, and then that was it.
Nice.
That was game time right there.
Okay. So I guess like I mean, less than a week like afterwards, like what are you thinking? Do you think you'd compete again, or are you still you're still on the fence about it?
I'm still in the air because everybody keeps asking me that, but like,
yeah,
I'm gonna keep training for sure. But for me, it's like I don't see myself doing it again. To be honest, it's like
okay.
I was sitting there like I've been going through a crisis ever since I fought, which I've like haven't really been enjoying. I've been enjoying the win, like just walking around. I feel like I have a little confidence going around, but I'd be like having a crisis where I'm like, the best way I could describe it, I was talking to my wife and I was like, it's like when you're playing like a kind of like RPG game where you're playing like a video game and you have your skill tree and you always have like that next skill you're trying to get to. And then once you end up maxing out your character, you're like, well, I got it. I finished.
Yeah.
Like,
where else do I go from here? Yeah.
Like, fuck. So I feel like I didn't feel like I maxed out my skill tree by any means because I'm still getting pieced up in the gym. But I'm like, I'm still kind of like, well, I did it. Like, what now? Like, what's next? It's like, do it again. Like, I'm like, I could do that. But like, I feel like I got everything out of it. Like, everything personally, I feel like I wanted to get out of that. Like, I can happily say, like,
got it.
I got that, what I wanted out of that. Like, I got the growth out of it. I went through there, got a W. And for me, because of my kidney stuff, either way, I can't make it a career even if I wanted to. It's just not safe. So
yeah.
I'm like, only reason I would fight again would be to advance my career to eventually go pro. Then if I'm not trying to make it a career, it's like, what's, there's like all risk, no reward almost. It'd be like, I mean, you'd still, you just, it's still cool. You still fight for the fun of it. But I feel like for me, I don't think I'd grow more mentally from, I probably would like learn more about, I feel like I learned more about myself in that one like fight than I probably would in like another one. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, it's kind of diminishing returns. Like, all right, cool. Like you did it, but then what more? And I totally see that. Like from my perspective of someone that's fought like multiple times. And I would say like if you're already at the point where you're not sure about like doing it again, then of course, don't don't do it. Yeah.
I feel like if I do it, like it wouldn't be like I'm not driven to train hard. Like I'll still train hard and everything like that, but it's just like the amount of time because I work like a full-time job, like 45 hours a week pretty much. And train almost every day of the week, eat and clean. I already see my wife like an hour out of the day. I feel like it just wouldn't, I don't know. I feel like it'd almost be like selfish to fight again. Cause like, and I feel like
fighting is a selfish thing to begin with, but it has to be worth it in terms of
loneliest sport in the world, man. Yeah. So I'm like, dang, like, what do we do? So I'm like, if I do fight, like, I don't think I would enjoy it. Like, I really don't think like, I don't know. Like I went through that. It'd be like, I don't know, doing anything. Like if you go bungee jumping twice, like, of course, like the second time you're like, oh, I've done this. Like, I already know what to expect. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it seems like I'd say at this point, especially if you're thinking about it, you probably shouldn't. I mean, or at least, I mean, that's the thing. It's not like you're going to close the door on it forever, but it's not something that's on your mind. Then, and that's the thing too. You got like a bunch of, you got some other things like happening. So at that point, I mean, of course you still enjoy the training and shit. So as long as you do that, I'd say keep doing that. But as far as competing again, it seems like it's not on top of your priority list, and it doesn't really need to be because you already answered the question of if you could do it or not. So what other? It seems like at this point, like what other questions do you need to ask yourself, man? None really at that point. I can do it again, and then like, but then for what? Yeah, like what was?
And then like for what? Maybe you lose, and they're like, all right, now like
Yeah, it's like now losing. Like cool. Yeah,
like now I lost, but now I'm gonna fight again. I don't know. I don't know. Like you said, I don't feel like I would be driven to fight again. Because immediately after I'm like, oh, that was really cool. Immediately after the fight, I was like, dude, this is fucking sick, dude. Want to know? And I think I knew like right after the fight, they were asking me, they were like, oh man, like we popped your cherry. Next time we just got to work on this and this, and then we'll get you ready for the next one. Like we'll get it going. And even when they were talking about it, like I was just like, I kind of like, it was like, it's like when your friend's asking if you want to go do something and you really don't want to do it. So you're kind of just like, yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But in your mind, like, I am not doing it.
Yeah. That's
I'll think about it.
And I was like, dang, like, that's cool. But I just was kind of like, no, I just don't want to. Like, I don't want to. Like, I don't know. I feel like I want to like, now it's like, I'm still going to be that guy in the gym where I'll probably talk about like, I fought like 50 times, Oh man, you still there? Yeah, there you go.
I'm still here.
At
least you got the experience. No, I totally know I totally know what you mean. Like in terms of what's the purpose of fighting more if it's not going to do anything for you. And that's the thing, because fighting is a selfish thing, but if you're going to be selfish, it has to be for a purpose. And it seems like it's already kind of served its purpose, like for you. And that's totally fine, because at the end of the day, it's your life. And it's like, if you don't want to do it, why would you do it? You're not a gladiator. You're not having to do it for your freedom or for your survival. So, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm keep my head low. Still gonna train. I still want to train with the team, like at least the fight team, just because it's fun being in there, helping everybody get ready. And I want to be a good training partner too. So everybody that helped me get ready, I want to be in there for them too if they're competing. Like,
give that support.
Yeah. If you need anything, I'll be there for you too. I'll help you out. So that was cool.
Nice.
So I'll still be in there. I'm just getting back in there on Monday, still grapple and stuff like that. And then mainly my main thing is just the kidney problems. That's the main thing where I'm like, I really like, they're telling me like fucking kidney failure by the age of 50.
Oh shit.
That's what they're saying. And they're like, and I'm out here fucking blowing cysts left and right. So I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, it really takes one shot and I could be in the ER all over again. So I'm like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. You don't need that. Especially, that's already 50. That's already like a shortened lifespan. Like, so you don't want to shorten that like anymore. So, hey, that's totally plausible in terms of that. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's people talk about fighting. They don't talk about stopping fighting.
Yeah, right.
But that's an important question. That's a question that a lot of people don't answer. Or, I mean, we've gone over that several times in this show. Talk to retired fighters or fighters that nearing the end, and that's the thing. No matter how good it is, there's always like an ending, and the ending's gonna be. But just because something ends doesn't mean it wasn't like worthwhile or wasn't enjoyable like beforehand. And sometimes like want to know like what more is there to do, because if you get another one and then all it takes is for some small things to happen and then for that to not be worth it. So why you already took a big risk already.
Right. And I'm like, damn, I'll already be taking small risks in the gym every day and stuff like that. I mean, because we both know people that's been training for like 10 years, never fought once. And they fucking love it, dude. Just for like, it's a great way to stay in shape, dude. And it's kind of a confident booster. I'm like, fuck. So it is funny though, because like now I went to the gym to run just on fucking like treadmill, just to get moving again. And I'm like, dude, I didn't even have a drive to run anymore. Like I was like, dude, because I used to be like, I could like my coach give me my fucking workout for the day. I'd go hit it, be driven as fuck. I'd be like, oh, dude, I'm gonna do this. Like it was like purposeful workouts where I'm like, all right, I'm doing this crap so I can go beat somebody's ass in the cage. And now I'm like, I was sitting there running on the treadmill and the fucking 30 minutes felt like 2 hours. Cause I was just
why am I doing this?
I'm like, dude, I'm not fighting again. Like, why am I running? So I'm like, damn, like watch me in a year, dude. It'll be a bowling ball. I'm about to be fat as shit.
You become Anthony?
yeah, absolutely. Dude, yeah. Anthony, dude, funny. Anthony yesterday I was talking to him. He's trying to get me into the Tough Mudder run.
Oh, yeah.
He wants me to do the 10K
with relay race. Yeah.
I was like, dang, dude. He was showing me, dude. He's like, dude, you'll grow from this. He's like, you'll grow from this like your fight. And I'm like, what do you mean, dude? He's like, have you seen the obstacles? And he pulls up the obstacles. Like, and you got to run through like electric wires and like, fucking
it's pretty crazy.
I'm like, man, like, fuck that shit. Like, no, like, no shot. Like,
what am I doing? The Hunger Games here?
Do that. Yeah. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that crap. So I was like, dude, what? Eddie's been on the grind, dude. And it's funny since I fought too. Now my sister's calling me. She called me literally while I was running 30 minutes ago. She's like, hey, when are you going to the Ivan's next time? And I'm like, Monday. Like, why? Like, what do you want? And she's like, oh, I want to come with you. She's like, I want to start training now. And she's like, I'm like, oh, sick. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, are you actually going to do it though? Like, cause don't tell me you don't want, you're going to do it and never do it. It's just going to piss me off. And I'm like, she's like, no, I want to come and watch. I'm like, okay, dude. I'm like, shit, dude. I'm like, I was just grilling her though. I'm like, are you actually going to do it? Like, cause I'm like, if you're going to do it, I'm not going to have you like halfway jump in there. Like, I'm a very like full send or no send kind of person. I feel like in that sense. So I'm like,
you dive in. Yeah. You can't dip your toes into this. Yeah.
No, you got to get thrown to the fire. You got to get thrown to the wolves. Like,
yeah, that's right. You're fighting Charlie next.
Yeah. Like, go get his ass. Go get him, man.
Grudge match. Here we go.
I'm coming for you, Charlie. Yeah, dude, you coming for that. I never forget.
Yeah. No, and I think that's very interesting because now I'm in a position too where I'm coaching like people, and I've had similar situations where I had guys that fought and they only had like one or two fights and they're done, and hey, that's totally fine. It's like, hey, everyone has like a different life. If this is not what you want to do, then I'm not gonna force you to do this shit. Or not. I even had like one where someone didn't even fight, but they were like super nervous and felt like they didn't want to. I'm like, well, no one's forcing you. Drop out. Yeah.
Yeah. You told me about that one.
Yeah. I told you about that. And it's it's interesting. It's like, if this isn't suiting what your future or what you want to do, then because I know how dangerous this shit is.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna make you do it. Like I feel like if you have to someone like push you, like you should fight. Like you got that. Like you got it. Like if someone's pushing you to fight, I feel like you shouldn't be fighting.
Yeah,
like, I
exactly.
Feel like it's 100% self-driven. Like if you're not the one that made the decision on your own, where you're like, I need to bang. Like I can go in there and do this myself. Like I feel like it just wasn't for you.
100%. You have to be self-driven, like to do so. People will help you get in there, and that's the way I see it too. It's like I'm never gonna. I will give someone opportunities to fight, but I'll never make them fight. They have to show that initiative like for themselves.
Like fucking showing up to training. If you're showing up to training, like obviously you get in there. Like nobody.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes people train just to be in shape, right?
Yeah,
and there's a different kind of intensity in terms of doing so.
But to put yourself through that, like you gotta fucking want to do that shit.
For sure, man. Like because I know for me, I lost my first fight as you saw, and I was like, man, this sucks so much. And then I was like, would I do it again? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then I went in there and I lost again. And I was like, oh man. I was like, oh man, would I do this again? Like I don't know. But then I ended up fighting like 10 more times afterwards. So clearly I just kept on doing it.
But you made the decision on your own. Like fucking you made that decision though.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. No, yeah. Nobody ever forced me to do that shit. I put myself like through there. So and that's the way I see it now too. It's like, I can't, like when I'm coaching others, it's like, you gotta be self-driven. It's like your actions will dictate what you truly want, right? You can say you want to do some shit, but you're gonna read the energy in terms of doing so. So, yeah, man, I'd say, hey, if anything, that's great that you were able to do it. Got all the mental and spiritual, whatever physical growth from it, and now you always have that. And of course, it's like maybe too soon. Who knows? Something might change,
right?
And you might. But at the end of the day, you were able to get the maximum thing from this experience. So let's see. Yeah,
right on, dude. Yeah, exactly. It's cool. So we'll see. For all I know, maybe I'll get back in there like fucking 1 month later. I'll be like, man, I got to like can't let this shit go too, because I'm like fucking all like crisis mode, dude. Too, and I'm like, well, do I just stop training altogether now if I'm not fighting? Like, and I'm like, nah, I got to get in there. Otherwise, like, I'd go crazy if I wasn't at least in there, like, because it's been 6 days, dude, and feel like it's been like 2 months since I've been in the fucking gym. Like, it's crazy. Like, I was texting fucking Ishmael. I was like on Instagram. I was like, dude, I miss you, bro. I haven't been there in like feels like been forever,
Yeah.
Love you, bro. Like, I'm like, how's the camp going? Because I feel bad. I'm like, dude, all these dudes just helped me out. Like, Sahabs was in the sauna with me for 4 hours. Like, sit with me for the whole time.
Damn.
And I'm like, dang, and I'm not in there in the gym right now. And he's fighting like in a week. I'm like, dang, I feel bad. So that's why I'm like, I at least want to go in there on Monday. At least fucking give it back, like help out. They're like, you guys need anything? Like, kick it. So
for sure. I mean, but for the social, the physical, in terms of staying in shape, it's definitely great. So hey, that's cool that you're still want to be in it, but as far as like, it's good to understand yourself, and because the worst thing would be putting yourself in a fight that you don't really want to be in, and then like, well, what's the fucking point of that? Yeah.
And then I'll be like Bilal's guy. I'll just pull out like right before the fucking fight.
I'll be like, I don't
want to do this.
All right, I'm out.
Like, nah, never mind. Like, he's pretty big. Like, I don't want to do that.
I left something in my car.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to put the meter. Yeah, it's funny. The nice thing is, dude, I know he can give me fucking shit, dude, because I was getting shit left and right at the dealership. Now I walk around a little bit more respect. I'm like, fuck.
Hey, you see what I did right there?
You want me to show you the video? That was a cool thing too, though. Everybody was fucking watching the fight from the sales office at work. And then I showed up, and it was funny because they were like, dang, dude, like, I don't know, who was it? I think one of the finance managers, I think it was like Deanna, she was talking to me. She was like, well, I knew you fucking fought and everything like that. And she's like, I didn't think you would lose or anything like that, but I didn't think you were like that. She's like, I didn't think you were like good. And I was like, oh, I'm like,
I thought you sucked.
That's what it was. Everybody was like, I thought you were just doing like some kind of like karate type shit. And then we watched you fight, and they're like, damn, he actually does this. So
this
now
is
I'm walking
for
around.
real. Well, that's the thing.
Like
People that don't know.
They don't. They fuck around. You can go find out though.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is kind of cool that I walk around there, kind of with my dick out a little bit. So I'm like, what are we doing here? So now at least, next time somebody wants to split one of my half deals, bro, they're gonna fucking find out.
Yeah, you pull up the video. Hey man,
I'm like, this is me. I finally got the photos from it too, which is cool. I got some really cool action shots.
Yeah, no, I saw you. You should like blow that up, be like a poster. Like on it.
Dude, I probably will, dude. I got a little wall over here, and they let me keep the gloves. Maybe I'll frame the gloves. Yeah. I'll tell my kids I fought like. It'll be like, you know how your dad tells you walk 10 miles to school every day.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 100. I fought 100 times, never lost.
Exactly. I'm like, this was just my favorite fight though. Like this is my favorite photo from, you know.
Yeah. What happened to all the other ones? Oh, I just burned them all. You know.
Yeah, these are my retirement gloves because they let me keep the gloves. I'm like, you know, I threw these on the floor. Like this is it, guys. You know, like so we'll see. Just keep those kids in check.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'll do something, but
all right, man.
That's it though.
I mean, thanks for sharing your story, and hey, you'll have this, and you can remember how you felt like a week afterwards. So,
dude, it's funny because you invited me on the podcast, but like, what was it? 2 days ago or 3 days ago? One of my buddies was talking to me. One of my high school, not even high school, junior high buddies. I've known him since we were like 12, and he was like, "Dude, sorry I couldn't make it, but like." It's like, how was it? And I was like, dude, I'm not about to type this whole shit out. Like, fuck that. I was like, no way, dude. I'm like, dude, I was real quick, like, dude, it was like the craziest thing ever. Like, it was crazy. And he's like, dang, dude. He's like, that's really cool. He's like, you should journal about it. And then he's like, you should record yourself talking about it so you can revisit that later on. And then sure enough, like you text me like, hey, dude, you want to go on the podcast? I'm like, fuck yeah, man. Like, let's go. So it was really funny. I was like, dang, dude, that's crazy how that happened though. Cause he was literally just telling me that. So I'm like, at least cool. I can like, go listen back on it.
Yeah, for sure. This is like a video journal, like for yourself. So you'd be like, oh, how did I feel like afterwards? So yeah, that was
it.
Cool, man. Well, anything else I guess you want to say, like to the people out there, I guess like to your future self?
Future self, dude. Fuck, I don't even have anything, man. I'd be like, main thing is like, if you think I just run the risk, dude. Be like, if you think you can go out there and do it, just fucking go try it at least once. My whole philosophy is like, I'll try everything crazy at least one time. Because if you've never tried it, you don't know. So if it's anything weird, fucking weird food, fight, kinky, I don't know what it is, but fucking go try it at least once and tell me after. Like, I don't know. At least
don't listen to Kinky Stuff Ender.
Yeah. Like, put your headphones on, bro.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Bring enough cash to the club.
Right. Try something once. If you don't like it, then go talk shit about it. But if not, then if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
That's mainly it.
Cool. And if your future kids are watching this, he was 100-0, by the way.
Yeah, 100-0. Yeah. There was a 1. They just left a lot of zeros after it. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. 99 people after that. And then
absolutely. That was it.
Yeah, this is the whole ploy just to fool you into thinking. But yeah.
Not for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll fight again, bro. In probably 20 years anyways. I'll probably have like a little Iron Man fucking power strip on me, keeping my kidney shit healthy. Like, I don't know. I'll have something cool on me. I'll shoot laser beams out my hands. I don't know.
I think in the future what they should do, they should have like we're making robots anyway. They should do the thing where you control a robot, and then wasn't there like a Hugh Jackman movie, I think like that, where they had fighting
Real Steel.
Robots? Yeah.
Real Steel, dude.
Real Steel, that was it. Yeah.
I really liked those like RCs, fucking the remote controls.
Yeah.
And the one motherfucker had like the headband, was like Siri. It'd be like talking to dude, we're gonna have fucking AI. We already have AI.
Yeah, there's already like AI. Well, there's already like battle bots. Where people use the controllers. Why not just and think about it, they already have Connect or those 3D those VR games. Why not just take that into like a real thing? Yeah,
that's what they did in the movie, bro. He was like fighting he was shadow boxing outside of the ring, and then the robot was copying him.
And the robot was copying the movements. I feel like we're probably like what 10 years less than that away from that. Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. Because like think about that. Yeah, because then you could be like an older fighter who doesn't have the body like for it, but you still have everything in the mind, and then you just take that to a robot, right? Yeah.
That's kind of sick. We just got to be the first ones, make some serious money off it.
Yeah.
Exactly. We won't tell Disney or Pixar, whoever it is that created it, that we took their idea. We'll be like,
Well, that's the thing. Like once you take it into real, it's not like if you actually made a time machine, then it's all you. Then it's like you don't have to give like H.G. Wells any of your shit.
That's true. I'm like, fuck that. This is my shit.
Yeah, it's my shit now.
Yeah,
You talked about it. I did it.
Yeah, come fight my robot for it, you know?
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Well, other than that, I guess we can end this show. It's been episode 221. Saleem talking about his 100th MMA fight for his.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of wars in the gym, so if you count them up, it's probably been about 100.
Yeah, if you count all those up, yeah.
Undocumented.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. All right, and we'll sign off now.